Hello everybody, Coach Larry here, coming at you live again. This seems to be a pattern with our Facebook Live, but that's okay because we are coming at you live from the pool tonight, right after Thanksgiving. And I hope after last week's talk, you all worked very hard on your core this week. I know Thanksgiving isn't the greatest time to work on your core, but nevertheless, all important. Core in swimming. It gives you that line that you want, it gives you the stability that you want, it gives you speed that you want, and it'll give you that main centering, that main balancing that you want in your swimming. So I want to welcome all the swimmers, all those who may be future swimmers. Maybe you're not a swimmer right now, but you should be. Great sport, low impact, high calorie burn. It'll get you in shape. So welcome to Sunday Night 1-to-1. My name is Larry Lee. I'm the owner of iSwim 1-to-1. You can check in at our website, iswim1to1.com, for more information about all the cool things that we've got going on, including a really cool phone call that I received this week. So before we jump into tonight's broadcast, which is called Grab the Wheel, okay? Before we jump right in, I want to tell you about a phone call I received this week from the North Pole. Yep, good old St. Nick reached out to me from the North Pole just this week, and he had a special request. He said, for the month of December, I want you to offer all 1-to-1 sessions at a $25 discount. But there was one condition that he had. So he said, everybody who takes a session in December, when they get their $25 discount, what I'd like them to do I want them to take a portion or even all of their $25 discount and do a good deed with it. So I agreed, and we're off and running. So anybody who does a 1-to-1 session during the month of December, basically, here's what you're going to do. You're going to get $25 off, and you can go and just do a random act of kindness. You can pay for somebody's meal in the drive-through line behind you. You can reach out to a police officer who so faithfully, these ladies and gentlemen serve our community so incredibly well. Reach out to them with a gift card. Maybe it's a greeter at Walmart or your local grocery store. Or maybe it's a homeless person that you encounter and you want to reach out and give them something nice. Here's what we want to do. We want to focus this time of the season, this Christmas time, on giving. And the cool thing is, we're going to have these swimmers who do their 1-to-1 sessions in December. They're going to write in, tell us about their story, and we just hope that this kind of thing will spread throughout the swimming community, all across the country, maybe even across the world, and just put everybody in an even more giving spirit, because that's what this season is all about. It's all about giving. All right, so what's tonight about? Well, it's called Grab the Wheel. Now that's a pretty urgent title. You know, someone says, grab the wheel. There's a sense of urgency there. And there's a sense of urgency as it relates to the wheel or the steering wheel in swimming. And I'll tell you what that is in just a second. So, if you think about your car and you grab the steering wheel, whatever you do with the steering wheel is going to impact everything else in your car, isn't it? It doesn't just turn the wheels. It impacts everything. Yes, it turns the wheels. You turn the wheel to the left, your wheels are going to turn to the left. But everything else on your car goes left as well. Your front bumper, your car stereo, your back seat, your front seat, everything about your car is impacted by what you do with the steering wheel. And the same thing is true with something in the sport of swimming. Can you guess what it is? Well, here to introduce this idea of the steering wheel of swimming and grabbing the wheel is the one and only Coach Bob. Yes, you've probably heard about Coach Bob for years. He is the true brains behind this organization, the true head coach, and the truly humble one. Isn't that right, Bob? All right, so yes, I am a grown man talking to a mannequin head, and that might seem a little crazy. Okay, thank you, Bob. All right, so the head in swimming is the steering wheel. It is the all-important steering wheel. It gives you that sense of urgency of grab the wheel, okay? Because what you do with your head in swimming impacts the entire body, just like the steering wheel in your car impacts the entire car, okay? So Bob is here. We're going to get back to him in just a second. Thank you, Bob. To talk to us about all of the aspects of the importance of the head in swimming. Now, when you think about the head in swimming, before we dive into the specifics, I want to talk about why are we doing this. Why we're doing this is because what you do with your head can allow you to swim faster without expending any more energy. Okay, let me say that again. You can swim faster without expending any more energy, without spending an extra ounce of energy. How could that be? How can I swim faster without spending more energy? It's because you're swimming smarter, because you're swimming more efficiently. When you control the head, when you grab the wheel of swimming and you control what you do with your head, the speed at which you can travel and cut through the water changes astronomically. What you do with your head allows you to cut through the water better. It allows you to position your body in a more efficient position. It allows you to travel in a position in the water which allows you to have maximum speed, maximum efficiency. You know, last week we talked about the core, and we talked about how important it is to have a really solid core so that you don't go through the water, you don't travel through the water like a noodle, okay? Well, you could have a really solid core, really solid. But if your head is out of position, you're going to handicap yourself. You're going to put the brakes on. You are going to go slower than you could go if you take control of the wheel. Grab the wheel in swimming, and that is take control of the head position. Now, there are so many different aspects of the head and the impact of the head in the sport of swimming. What does it do and how does it impact your freestyle, your backstroke, your butterfly, your breaststroke, your start, your turns, your finish, your underwaters? Every area of your swimming is impacted by the head and the position that you put your head in. Tonight, mainly we're going to be talking about freestyle and the impact that the head has in your freestyle. We're going to talk about the common errors that people make with their head position, and we're going to talk about how to fix those errors so that you or someone that you know who is a swimmer, you may be a swimmer, you may not be, but so that swimmers can travel more efficiently and faster through the water, because that's the bottom line. What we want to do in competitive swimming is travel through the water faster, and if we can do so without spending any more energy, by just being smarter, not by trying harder, but by being smarter and dialing in and making sure we grab the wheel and steer with the head, the better off we're going to be. Are you ready? Okay, so here we go. Mainly we're going to focus on freestyle tonight, as I said. So let's talk about the 3 most common errors with the head position. First error. The first error is, again, Coach Bob here to help. Bob, by the way, he's kind of into this whole mannequin challenge thing. He thinks that if he could kind of get some ideas together from some of you guys, he could do an awesome mannequin challenge. In fact, he told me he was really born for such a thing. So if you have any cool ideas for Bob on the mannequin challenge, write in and let us know. All right, so Bob, there's your shout out. So the first error, the first common error in swimming is an elevated head position. So hang on a second. All right, so incredible props here, high budget, big budget props here. So this is my foam roller. Of course, this is the head coach, Bob. So Bob's head, Bob's spine. Okay, here we go. We're traveling through the water, right? Now, if we have an elevated head position, what happens? Okay, it's the domino effect. Just like we talked about earlier, when you turn the steering wheel in a car, everything in the car is impacted by the steering wheel. Well, if you have an elevated head position, you raise your head when you're swimming in, let's just say in freestyle, okay? What happens? There's a domino effect. There's a bend in the back of the neck. There's a drop in the back. Usually there's an arch in the back. And what happens? The hips drop lower, the legs drop lower, and all of a sudden you've got some of that Fred Flintstone kind of swimming going on where you are dragging your hips and your legs low and you're creating resistance that you don't want. You don't want resistance in swimming. You want to eliminate resistance. But with an elevated head, you're going to have resistance because the domino effect. Up goes the head, down goes the rest of the body. Not good. We want to keep the head in line with the spine. And we'll talk about how to do that more in just a little bit. Now, why do people raise their head in swimming? Well, it goes back basically to your survival skills. Remember, the sport of swimming is quite unique because it's taking place in an environment where you can't breathe very easily. Not ideal for survival, right? So when you're a little kid, when you first start swimming, what do? Well, they try to get you to put your face in the water, right? All right, so Bob, put your face in the water. Yep, there you go. All right, so Bob's face is in the water. Now he starts worrying about what's he gonna do about survival. Okay, now in swimming, what are you doing? You're heading at full speed either toward a big cement wall, right, the end of the pool, or you're heading toward other swimmers. So what are you likely to do? Look up, right? This is not natural. This does not lead to good survival, right? Because if you go full force into the wall or full force into another swimmer like this, guess what? Concussion protocol, right? It's not pretty. So what do you do from a survival standpoint? Up comes the head. And what happens then? It's the chain reaction, right? Up comes the head, down goes the neck and the back and the hips and the legs, and all of a sudden you're going more slowly, okay? So we're trying to fix that. We're trying to go against what our natural survival instincts tell us, which is to look up. When you look up, you can definitely see, but you can also go slower, and that's what happens, okay? So the first, thank you, Bob. The first common error is elevated head position. So we got to eliminate that. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. The second common error in swimming is the swerving head or the bobbing head, okay? No offense, Bob, but the bobbing head, okay? Sometimes swimmers, when they're really trying hard, okay, they really bear down and they start really digging in, and all of a sudden, okay, their head starts going back and forth and they feel like they're doing a good thing, but they're not. Or they bury their head down deep and then they've got to bring it back up. They got to bring it back up for the breath and then they bury it again, right? We don't want to do that. We do not want to have a swerving head. Why? Because then the rest of the body will swerve, right? We don't want to have a bobbing head. High up, down low, high up, down low. Why? Because then the body goes high up, down low. And where do we want to go? Boom, we want to go straight. So what do we need to do? We need to keep the head along a straight line. So number one, we need to keep the goggles angled down instead of looking up, angled down. And we need to drive forward, almost like there's a string coming out of the top of your head, pulling you down the pool, through a channel, okay? That's what we want to do. It's like we want to carve a channel through the water, through which the rest of the body will travel. All right, so we've got two of our major errors here. Number one, elevated head, okay, because we want to see where we're going. Number two, swerving or bobbing head, right? And number three is problems that come from lifting the head for your breath. We talked earlier, we are competing in a sport that takes place in an environment where we can't breathe, or we can't breathe very easily. So we have to periodically take a breath, right? We need to take a breath. So what are we to do when it's time to take a breath? Well, when you're a little kid, right? When you're a little kid, what is the first thing you do when you're swimming? You go up for the breath because you know that the oxygen is up here. You don't keep your face down. You go up for the breath. Well, that tends to be a really big problem because that leads to elevated head. It could lead to swerving, okay? And definitely it leads to lifting. A lot of times swimmers, unknowingly, when they turn their head for the breath, what they'll do is they will lift and turn the head for the breath instead of just driving forward for the breath. And that causes major issues, major resistance. And again, remember, what we're trying to do is reduce resistance. Reducing resistance gives you speed that you don't have to try hard for. You just have to be smart about it, right? You don't have to try harder if you're smart about the head position. And the head position, the head in swimming is the steering wheel. And what the head does, the rest of the body is impacted. Just like whatever you do with your steering wheel impacts the entire vehicle. All right, so we've got the 3 most common errors that take place with the head in swimming. Number 1, elevated head position, right? Seeing where you're going. Number 2, swerving head or bobbing head. Or number 3, lifting head when you take a breath. And specifically here, we're talking about freestyle. So what do we do? Here's how you address all 3 errors. Number 1, what do you do for the elevated head? Number 1, you have to fight your survival instinct, which is not easy, okay? Especially the younger you are, the tougher it is. So if you're young, start working on it now. What we need to do is let the water support your head instead of you looking up and supporting your head, okay? Just let go. Let the head relax on the water, okay? Your head weighs somewhere between 10 to 15 pounds. If you elevate it like this, you're using all of these muscles back here to elevate the head, when all you have to do is bonk. Just let the water do its part. You know, swimming really is a partnership. Swimming is a partnership between the human being and the water. You do your part, and the water will do its part. You can't swim without each other, right? Both partners have to be there. So just let your partner, the water, support your head. Let your goggles, look down, relax your head, and drive forward, okay? Drive forward, letting the water support your head, and that will keep you in a really nice position. The other thing you can do too is one of my good friends is Coach Russ over at Swim Mac. Some of you have been around swimming for any period of time. Know Coach Russ. One of the things that he teaches all of his swimmers is the apple check. And what you can do is you can kind of pretend like your fist, it's about the size of an apple. Put it under your chin, right there, okay? That's the head position that you want when you're swimming freestyle. If you push your head down too much, what happens? Applesauce, right? You crush the apple, creates applesauce. If you lift your head and elevate your head, the apple floats away. So we want to put the apple right there under the chin. That creates the perfect head position right there. Let the water support your head and drive forward through your stroke. So, elevated head, problem solved. Number 2, the swerving head. What do we do about the swerving head? Well, I don't have one with me here, but many of you own a snorkel, and if you don't, you should get one, okay? Put the snorkel on your head during your practice. Your coach, I'm sure your coach will let you do it, at least during warm-up or during your drills, okay? And it takes all of the worry about breathing out and just lets you keep your head totally straight, just driving along a very straight line, okay? That way you don't have to get into this swerve. You can totally concentrate on your head. Just driving your head forward, keeping the snorkel on. Then, when you take the snorkel off, pretend like you still have the snorkel on. Call it a phantom snorkel, okay? But it will help you keep your head still and totally focus on the head position while you're swimming freestyle. And again, we're focused on freestyle here today. So, keep that head going nice and straight with the snorkel on. The snorkel allows you to breathe. And then when you take your snorkel off, just mimic that same head position. And then just take a nice small breath to the side. So a snorkel can help tremendously with the bobbing of the head, the swerving of the head, because it allows you just to focus without having to worry about breathing. All right? And then the third thing, the third was, what do we do about breathing? Okay, what do we do about breathing? And this is going to take some real trust, okay, on the part of swimmers. Now, the job of the head, when you have your head in the right position, the job of your head is to carve a channel through the water through which you're going to be able to take a breath when you turn your face to the side, okay? So, good old Coach Bob here, okay? With the head in the proper position, not elevated, not swerving and bobbing and all that stuff, having that right head position. When he drives forward with his head right there on the surface, it's carving a channel. And when the top of his head moves the water out of the way. He can turn his face just slightly to the side. And because he's moved the water out of the way, it creates a channel. It creates this little pocket of air that you can breathe in. Okay? In fact, your mouth can even be below the surface of the water. But because you've carved a channel, you can grab oxygen right there and then quickly turn the head right back into the water. But it's very, it's pretty scary to breathe that low because you feel like you're going to take a mouthful of water. It's kind of like in the game of golf. Quick shout out to my good friend Steve for letting me borrow his golf club tonight. 3-iron, which I really like 3 irons because they'll go a little farther than my 7. All right, so now listen for just a second about this. This is just kind of just trying to connect the two sports. One of the most ironic or paradoxical or contradictory aspects of the game of golf is this. If you want to hit a golf shot, okay, and you want to get some lift, you want that ball to go up in the air, correct? One of the most important things that you can do is actually hit down on the ball. That's right. Hitting down on the ball will actually send the ball up. Now, most new golfers, what do? I did this when I was a new golfer. Okay, what do? You try to swing up on the ball, and what happens? You top it, right? And it dribbles into the woods, and everybody looks at you like, poor guy, poor gal, poor guy. You know, it doesn't know that you need to hit down on the ball in order to create loft on your shot. So it goes against your natural thinking to hit down on the ball for the ball to go up. It goes against your natural thinking to keep your head down in order to take that breath. Because when you're little, what do? You lift up for the breath. Even when you're not little, okay? You want to lift up for the breath because you know that's where the oxygen is. So what do you have to do? You have to create a channel for the oxygen with the top of your head. Drive forward through a good body line with great core and create a channel so that you can just slightly turn to the right, boom, and then turn your face right back into the water. Problem solved. So, 3 main problems with the head in your freestyle are, number 1, elevated head position. Number 2, swerving head or bobbing head. And number 3, lifting the head for the breath. What do we do about it? Number 1, what do we do about the elevated head? Drop the head into position and let the water do the work. Okay? Let the water support your head instead of you lifting the head. And you got to trust. You got to trust where you are in the pool. You got to trust your teammates. You need to trust the bottom of the markings on the bottom of the pool. They will tell you where you are. By the way, did you know that's why there's a T on the bottom of the pool and there's a line? It's there so you can steer. You don't have to look up. You can look down and steer. Number 2, how do you help the swerving or the bobbing head? Put a snorkel on. Okay, put a snorkel on, and you can focus 100% on keeping your head steady, driving that head forward, almost like there's a string coming out of the top of your head, and someone is on the other end of the pool pulling you down the pool. Okay? Then take your snorkel off and mimic it. Mimic that same feeling as you with that phantom snorkel on. And then the final thing, carve the channel. Carve the channel for your breath with the top of your head and trust that when you turn your head to the side, there will be oxygen right there. Yes, you may take a couple gulps of water when you're first trying this, so make sure you're safe and you're in shallow water, and obviously always make sure that your coach is around or a lifeguard or somebody who is water safety certified. Okay, so that's it. That's it for this week. Now, in upcoming weeks, we're going to have more special visits from our good old special guest, Coach Bob, talking about the head position in other strokes, backstroke, butterfly, breaststroke, because it's a very, very similar situation. The head determines what the rest of the body does, okay? So, just want to give a couple of shout outs here to everybody watching tonight. So I'm just scrolling through. I just want to, want to say hello to all of you. It looks like there's a lot of people here, and my eyesight is kind of failing me, not because of my age. It must be the lighting. So anyway, I just want to say thanks for all you guys joining today. Had 5 one-on-one sessions today. We had, and all of them worked on the head position. Peter, Sophia, Tyler, Kaylee, and Caitlin, all of them. Head position was key. When you focus on the head, just like when you focus on the steering wheel when you're driving, everything gets better. So grab the wheel, okay? Grab the wheel in your swimming. Take control of the head position, okay? You'll make this mannequin head, you'll make Coach Bob extremely happy, because that's what he is all about in swimming, is great head position, giving you really good speed without having to try any harder. It's just about being smarter with your head position. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. And again, remember Santa's one-to-one challenge. If you're a swimmer and you do a one-to-one session during the month of December, $25 off, and Santa is only asking for one thing, just one condition, and that is you go out and you spend that $25 on someone who is in need. A homeless person, someone who's down on their luck, maybe someone who doesn't get thanked very often, a police officer, a checkout person at the grocery store, the Walmart greeter, whoever it is. Make someone's Christmas time really special by taking that discount. And by the way, if you own a business, if you're a business owner, I want to challenge you. You could do something similar in your business. Maybe give someone a 10% discount for the month of December and ask them if they'll go out and take that money that they saved and give it to someone less fortunate than them. Really cool things could happen. I'm really excited about the emails that the kids are going to send in as they start reaching out. All right, hope you had a great Thanksgiving, great weekend. Off we go into the Christmas season, and keep swimming, keep that head position, and grab the wheel. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye.